Alright, what's up? Here's another video that I'm excited to show you where we break down going from fat to fit or skinny to jacked. And this is the entire roadmap laid out for you to see and give you a lot more insight and new perspective on how it should be going start to finish, literally. Because a lot of you guys don't know where to start. You don't know where to go from where you're at right now with your physique to where you want to be. And I'll show you what it takes nutritional wise and training wise to get you to that dream outcome, okay? Get to that physique that you only see in the movies. Now before we get into it, for the new guys out there, my name's Eric Trin, I'm 19 and I run True Form Fitness, which is my coaching offer one-on-one where I prioritize helping people get to their dream fitness outcomes, okay? Transformation based, whether it's that last layer of fat you're trying to cut down to reveal your six pack or add that new PR to your bench press, whatever it may be, I give you my simplified systems and truly hold your hand for you to get there. And the reason why I'd say I'm qualified to do this because in the 5 years that I've been trying to change myself, I've been able to cut out a lot of vices that's been holding me back and really go through the ups and downs and all it takes for you to make a significant transformation in your physique, okay? Outside people doubting me, internal dialogue sabotaging me, all that stuff. So breaking through those things, finding the system that truly works for me, I was able to implement it into other people's lives and saw the real changes. Now that you have a little bit of context, I feel like you're gonna enjoy this video, so tune in, make sure that you are fully attentive because this is gonna be an informative one. And yeah, let's get into it. Alright, diving right into it, let's go based off of America's statistics. And since 70% of people are overweight, we'll go from fat to fit, okay? So let's get into it. Starting off, you're probably overweight significantly, man titties, fluffy, all that stuff, right? Low confidence, but that's fine because I will show you how you can get that lean aesthetic physique right now. So to begin, what we're gonna get you through is a calorie deficit, right? And so I put the note here about 500 to 1,000 calories under your maintenance, and it's tracked daily. So if you don't know already, go into a TDEE calculator, calculate where your maintenance is, so the calories that you probably do eat every single day to maintain your current physique, and you have to eat under that, you know? So that's giving you less food, and that will make it so that you will lose the weight, right? This ensures an average of a pound per week of fat loss. This is how you're gonna measure that you're making actual progress. You're gonna commit to this until abs are visible, right? This is extremely important because you don't wanna just do this and become small and then think, okay, I've lost a good amount of weight, let me try to build muscle now. And then you just gain all the weight back, right? Especially if you don't know how to do it. So make sure that you get to a place where maybe you do have visible abs or you're extremely close to that. Like somewhere around those lines is when you should move forward. But other than that, stick to this calorie deficit. This is gonna make sure that you lose that weight. This takes maybe 12 to 16 weeks, but depending on where you're at, it might take way longer, up to 6 months, up to an entire year. Who knows, right? But a good indicator on when you should stop is, of course, like I said, visible abs. And I put a little comment here which says protein target will always stay the same throughout, meaning that not to go crazy into the macros, you know, macronutrients and stuff, your protein, carbs, and fats, your protein intake should be the exact same throughout this entire journey, you know, and usually it's a gram of protein per desired body weight. You should already know this, but don't mess that up. If you're gonna change your calories, take it away from your carbs and your fats. Keep your protein the same and make sure that you are hitting that number every single time. All right, so hit the same number of protein and your calories may change, but it will change around your protein target, if that makes sense. Okay, so protein target, calorie deficit gradually and adjust accordingly. Then you move on to a lean bulk, right? Weekly increase in calories from that deficit back into maintenance calories and continue to adjust moving forward, right? At a lower body fat percentage and faster metabolism, you can start slowly building muscle to fill out your proportions. And you need to do that because unless your goal is a skinny Tyler Durden type of physique, which most people are, then fine. You don't have to add on size after that. But if you want your proportions to look very developed and very well, then a lean bulk is necessary to build on muscle. Okay? How you can track this is showing signs of strength increase weekly. So that means you are getting even stronger than you were before while you are eating more calories, right? So you get more energy, you're getting more glycogen in your muscles, so you should be using that to your advantage and, getting a lot stronger. Once again, protein is kept the same throughout this entire process. You're just adjusting calories by only 250, keeping it very, very slow and chill, until you're at maintenance calories, and then continue to build on top of that. You might gain some weight back and you might gain a little bit of excess fat, but that's fine. We'll get into, how we can combat this. This will take maybe 6 to 12 months. This is going to be a slow process, but trust me, it's a lot more enjoyable. Your lifts will feel a lot better. You will get better pumps in the gym. You will get stronger and love to see the numbers go up because that means you're building muscle and you're getting that good physique. And yeah, you get to eat more now, so it's a lot more enjoyable, right? But this is where, after that whole point, you cut down and you get shreds. This is where the real physique is revealed. Like I said earlier, that excess fat that you gain is something that you will have to get rid of so that you can really reveal all the work that you've been putting in. And this is where, this second cut reveals your insane genetics and all like the striations and all that stuff you are looking for to, max out your physique. Okay? This is going to be a short-term cut, about 500 to 1,000 calories again, losing more pounds of fat while maintaining your new gained strength and muscle. Okay? This removes the excess fat added during the slow bulk to reveal your peak physique. And this is most likely an unsustainable state, but it's well worth it. All right, I had to put that in there because a lot of you are going to think that you can maintain this, but in reality, you're going to go through periods of like looking a little bit fluffier, cutting down again and all that stuff, but like overall, you are able to like maintain eventually a way better physique than you do now. So this is a different game. The reason why this is different from your cut beforehand where it was significant was just because you were fully focused on losing the fat first. But this cut here is you have to focus on maintaining that new muscle you built so you didn't just ruin all the progress you've been making, right? So as long as you maintain this and you do this, I'll tell you exactly right here. You do this by keeping your strength at the same level or maybe even getting stronger, right? But your strength gains is a direct indicator on your muscle gains. So keeping your strength at the same level means you're able to maintain it, right? If you get weaker significantly on your cut, you are doing it wrong and you're losing your muscle, okay? There's an even greater science to this in detail, but to keep it very short, simple, and bro sciencey, just keep your strength the same and just shred down, and what you'll be doing is losing pounds of fat even further and not muscle, all right? This might take 8 to 12 weeks, but the end result is well worth it because you will look lean as heck, right? This was a picture of me at the point where I was finished with this exact process, right? I was bulkier, I tracked my calories and was in, I believe, a 700 calorie deficit, around there, 7 to 800, and I got the most shredded I ever did in my life, right? Right now, I don't look like this, but I'm kind of floating in between, right? I still have a six-pack. I'm still doing good with my physique, but whenever I need to, show my shreds, I do that little cut at the end, and I reveal, my muscles a lot better. But going from overweight to a lean physique, this is the exact roadmap. This is exactly how it's going to look like when you're on your journey. And where most people mess up is literally at the beginning, because most people don't even know what a real calorie deficit is. They think that they're supposed to eat like the most minimal calories ever, but you're not supposed to do that, right? You're not supposed to feel hungry. You need to, make better food choices so that you don't feel extremely like starving all the time. That's not something that's normal, right? You aim for higher volume foods and all that stuff. But people fail because they think they're in a calorie deficit, but they're not really. The reason why they think so is because they think whatever number is their maintenance when it's clearly not. But what actually helps you with that is understanding that you need to be actively losing a pound every single week consistently. Okay? Maybe you'll lose 5 pounds in the first week, but if you go back to your normal weight, then that's not really how it works. Weight can fluctuate though, so the scale isn't the best indicator, but I can assure you that as long as you're consistently losing weight in the grand scheme of things long term, you'll be fine. All right? A day where your weight looks higher than it's supposed to be doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't working when, the weeks beforehand it has been. But like, it shouldn't be volatile every single week going up, down, sideways. It should be going down a lot. It should be going down gradually, and you should be able to visibly see that you're making progress. Okay? That's probably where most people fail when they're going from overweight to, cutting down. It's just thinking that they're in a calorie deficit when you're clearly not. And all of the other excuses are noise, saying that you don't have time, saying that you are in too much of a calorie deficit when you're clearly not. You just been too used to eating a certain amount, and your brain puts you in the survival mode where, since you're not getting as many calories as before, you're thinking that you're starving, but it's just your cravings, right? Or it's just because you're dehydrated. If you have the set targets accurate, your calorie goal and your protein target accurate, then everything else is an excuse. So as long as you understand this, then you'll be able to make good progress. Once again, I'm making this very, very simplified, but this journey is gonna take a very long time, especially if your end goal is something like this, okay? If your goal is to just look skinnier, then you'll stop halfway. But it takes, muscle building, cutting down to shreds that you've never have gotten to before, and all that stuff if you really want exceptional results, right? But I mean, you're going into this fully aware that it's going to take a long time. There's going to be times where no progress is shown, but soon it will all come as long as you put in the inputs necessary, okay? But yeah, that's fat to fit. We can move on now to skinny to jacked, right? Which is something that I resonate with on a personal level even further, because as you can see here with this goofy picture, I started off skinny, right? Extremely insecure about the size of my arms, extremely insecure because I was short as well. I'm still pretty short, but I was even shorter and skinnier. So that made it so that I felt like I was more feminine. I wasn't like, that was very emasculating for me. I thought that, I was a lesser person because of that and all that. But let's not get into it. Let's get into how we can actually, get rid of this, okay? And this process is a little bit more simple than the fat to fit, but it takes the same amount of difficulty, okay? So to begin, obviously, you'll be in a hard calorie surplus. 500 to 1,000 calories as the golden, rule above your maintenance tracked daily. We've already went over it. Your actual maintenance, and then 500 to 1,000 calories above that. If you aren't gaining weight every week, then that's not your real maintenance, okay? It's probably even more than that or something like that. Okay? Because 500 to 1,000 calories is a good amount. You can be gaining a pound for sure with that amount of calories. But a lot of people, once again, fall off because they don't actually know where their maintenance is, and they overcomplicate it when the best way to back test how you can actually find your real maintenance is just by tracking your macros and eating the same amount of calories every single day for a week and seeing if your weight changes or not. Okay? And based off of that data, you'll be able to understand where your maintenance lies, right? But TDE calculator, put it in, make sure that you just start with something as a slate and then just add 500 to 1,000 calories. I recommend adding 500 at the start to see what it does to your physique. And now that you have that new calorie goal to hit that's added with those 500 calories, you'll be able to see if you'll gain weight or not. Okay? If you don't, add more calories. If you do, then stick to that. If it's too much, like maybe it's over a pound, maybe cut it down by a little bit and go into like 200 calorie increments. But that's how simple it is. Okay, do not overcomplicate it, and the answer often lies in the simple one, right? So don't worry about it that much. Your strength must be going up weekly though to indicate muscle gain. You don't want to be gaining pounds of fat, you want to be gaining pounds of muscle and a little bit of fat, right? Muscle building, it's inevitable for you to add a little bit of excess fat onto your frame, but that's okay, right? That's expected and that's fine. Okay, as long as you are getting stronger, that means you're making the most out of it. So, yeah. This takes a strong 12 to 18 months because it is a very slow process. But if mass hasn't been built, then keep building, bro. This is a marathon, not a race. So make sure that you are just locked in on the progression and you don't focus on all the negative outside excuses and factors that might play a part, right? Things outside of the gym, family, relationship problems, work-related stuff, not having enough sleep, all that. Make sure that you are just highlighting the progress and the positivity, meaning the increase in strength that you're going to get from this high amount of calories, and you'll be fine, trust me, okay? Eventually everything's going to click and you're going to get to a point where the gym is something that, you prefer to do than other things, and you're just going to get this high off of just being on the journey, being on the pursuit, right? It's going to be, once again, a slow process, but it's well worth it. Okay, there will be ups, there will be downs, but you'll want all of it once you see the positive reinforcements from it. Okay? You must make sure that you are physically stronger and heavier. Eventually, everything will click. That's what I just said. If mass has been built, though, then you get to move on to the cutting, the shredding phase. Okay? So this is exactly what happened the first time, but you'll do it now. And if you're starting off skinny, the higher the chance is that you already had the leanness, the definition. You just needed to add on more size, and maybe you gain a little bit of chubbiness after that point, but here's where you cut down to reveal your physique once again. And most of the time, oh my gosh, that's the physiques that you see on the internet all the time, right? They started off skinnier because you just look leaner. And so you lean down a bit, you get that six-pack back, you have that jawline, and now you have all this muscle that you've been able to build, okay? It might take 8 to 12 weeks once again, but you end up jacked, right? And once I was able to reach this point, it felt so amazing that I didn't have that insecurity again. Maybe sometimes I would still be not okay with the way that I looked, but I promise you I would have preferred to look like this than when I started. From the outside, the way that everybody looked at me, they didn't see this skinny small guy no more. They saw me as the gym bro who, actually looks insane with his physique, and it shows discipline in your character. It shows that you carry yourself in a higher respect, a better way, and people just can see it in you when you truly do keep yourself at a high standard, okay? So once again, this is all super simplified, but this is the roadmap. And the long periods where you're doing the same stuff and where there's not that much positive reinforcement for what you're doing, you're not seeing a lot of results, like it's crazy, that's okay. That's where you're supposed to be. That's where the winning is done, and that's where you're eventually going to see the craziness, like the insane achievements, and get the highs that you are supposed to get once you transform your physique. During the process though, you can notice that in the middle, it's always where it's gonna be just slowly building, slowly processing, learning, getting better, failing sometimes, but it's all right because you're going to get it soon. It's all part of the process. But yeah, to sum it all up, going from fat to fit, you need to be in a huge calorie deficit first to lose all that fat. And once you're in a state where your body's more used to this leanness, it's able to maintain it a lot better than when it was, more insulin resistant, more heavier. Then you pack on some size after that. After that, you shred down to your peak physique. You reveal all the progress you've been able to make. Okay? Now, from skinny to jacked, you are in this high calorie surplus, and you slowly just build that physique. You get stronger, you look bigger, you continue to add on some more fluff, some more mass, and eat more. And then once it's time to cut down, it's easy. You're used to eating less anyway, and you reveal your peak physique. That's all it takes. This is super simplified, but look, I hope that this takes away all that overthinking, those overcomplications, and the excuses that many people tend to make, because in reality, this is truly all it takes. And once you're at a point where you do get the physique that you want, like I have, like I'm okay with my physique right now, then you'll come to realize that it was way simpler than you thought it was, and it's just all about sticking to the routine when it was tough. And that's it. If you are trying, and if you've been trying for 6 months to a year, then you're already ahead of most people, because people mostly quit in the first 2 weeks anyway, right? If you know, you know. The New Year's resolutioners, they are gone after 2 weeks or so, right? Maybe three if they're lucky. But most people don't stick to it that long. That's why they don't see the results and the benefits that they could have gotten by sticking to it. So yeah. As you can tell though, calories are your best friend in changing your weight, but muscle building and strength training is what you need to be implementing so you can pack on that muscle that makes your physique actually look cut and jacked like you want it. I hope you enjoyed this video and this brought a new perspective to your journey. If you liked it, like it, dislike it if you want to, comment what you want to see next or what you're focusing on with your current fitness journey. If you want somebody to guide you, hold your hand, and make sure that you do follow through with every single part of these steps in getting to that physique that you want, then book a call in the link of the description or DM me on Instagram. I'll qualify you to see if we're a good fit to work with each other. But with that being said, that's it for the video. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace out.